back to our discussion. We're talking about iridology today. Diane Elms is with me. She's an iridologist, an author, and a lecturer. Laura waiting on line 5. Husband has a lot of issue. You're looking at diabetes, kidney, thyroid.
Right. But the very first thing she said, I think, was thyroid.
Yes.
Which again, your mineral salts is the most important thing. Eating kelp. Most people don't know that eating seaweed, which is so full of natural mineral salts, is excellent for your thyroid. So those types of things, fibromyalgia, we're going to get to that in the next set of slides. Again, adding your mineral salts into your water and into those baths is very, very important. Again, I would never, be able to give someone adequate information without seeing them, right? But on top of my head, I mean, some of the things that she just talked about. Diabetes is when the pancreas isn't working with the insulin, very well. He could be a brown-eyed person, so that would be a natural predisposition. So again, enzymes. I'm only guessing if he's a brown-eyed person, right? But then enzymes would be very important. So again, pancreatic enzymes. Even if you are a diabetic, I would be suggesting that you take pancreatic enzymes. It helps, to help the pancreas work better. And so you can always adjust your insulin and do your own testing. So those are just, a little bit of suggestion from not being able to see somebody, right?
Okay, Laura, I want to thank you for calling in. Once again, of course, your answers are going to be general because Diane needs to see you and see your eyes. But again, wonderful basic information is being given. Thank you for your call, Laura, and all the best to you and your husband. Now, we're going to go very shortly now, to our second groupings of pictures. But one of you called our phone monitor to ask a question about green eyes. Now, when Diane refers to those photographs, she's going to be answering that question for you, but we don't often do that because we like to hear you talk to us. So don't be shy to call in with your questions. So what we're going to do now, before we go back to the phone lines, is we're going to show our second grouping of pictures, which indicates the structure of the eye. So if we've got that ready, there we go, Diane.
Okay, so looking at this one, don't look at the eye color, look at the fibers. Now, this one is called a neurogenic. How you can distinguish it is the fibers are consistently nice and tight all the way around. You'll be able to see that in the differences with the other ones. But that's called a neurogenic. So their neurological system is their predisposition. And so their neurological system is being stressed all the time. So this particular person, because they're blue-eyed, they need minerals, and being a neurological person, they need minerals. This person needs twice as many minerals on a regular basis than every other person does.
Why the bloodshot on the right-hand side of the screen?
Okay, that's actually sclerology, and that's a whole different science. I teach it in one of my in one segment of my iridology. My specialty is iridology, but I do always look at sclerology, and all those markings mean different things. So.
Wow, okay, there's the next one.
Okay, so
that's an unusual eye.
Okay, so this is one. This one we can kind of talk about in the green aspect also, and somebody asking the color about green. Here's a perfect example of green really isn't a color. But here, see, this is a blue-eyed person, and then they have the orange color on top. That orange color that came on top is lifestyle issues. That has accumulated over time. Those shades will alter what your eye actually looks like. That's how people get green eyes, okay? So that's off topic of the structure type. But look at the very top of the iris of this eye. So if you look next to the pupil, you're going to see that orange ring. Okay, orange means pancreas to me. And then after that, you're going to see where there's these loops that come right next to that orange ring next to the pupil. And so those loops are called lacunas. And because there's more than 3 lacunas, this person's constitution by structure is called polyglandular. So that means their glandular system or their endocrine system is their genetic predisposition. So thyroid, pancreas, all of those types of things would be natural areas. Because this one's got orange in there, which represents the pancreas, and because they're polyglandular, that would be a specific area I would focus on, is specifically the pancreas. So the next one. Okay, now think about the very first slide or the very first photograph that you looked at in this one, which was in this grouping, which was the blue-eyed, which was neurogenic, where all the fibers were nice and tight together. Look how loose this one is, okay? It almost looks like a strainer. And so this one's called connective tissue. So with that, this person's predisposition is connective tissue. So their joints, so they sprain easily, hemorrhoids, varicose veins, prolapsed organs. So by understanding who you are, then you can do things to keep yourself strong. Mineral baths would be very important, but MSM is one of the best things that a connective tissue person can take and lecithin in order to keep that connective tissue strong in their body. Also, these people should not be standing on their feet very long in a job because they have prolapses, and varicose veins and hemorrhoids, so they shouldn't be standing. So the next one. Okay, so here's another one. You can see how this kind of looks green, okay? But it's really a biliary eye. And so this one, can you see the rings that go around?
Clear.
Okay, now this was me, but this isn't me. The iris isn't me, but this is my eye color and my eye structure. This is called anxiety tetanic.
Including the rings.
Including the rings. That's the structure type. It's called anxiety tetanic. So this iris is a biliary eye, which is bile, liver, digestion, and anxiety tetanic, which is a neuromuscular person. So they're using their neurological system and their muscular system. They are prone to cramping, mind on the go, not being able to sleep very well. Those are all symptoms of fibromyalgia. Okay, so with this particular iris, because they're biliary, they cannot absorb enough protein, and then when they're anxiety tetanic and working on their muscles, so this was me, it worked against me. So this was exactly my case. That iris was exactly my case. And what happened was, because I was always very athletic and A-type personality and on the go, I could not absorb enough protein. So I was actually atrophying my muscles from the inside out. I got to the point, Christine, where that I couldn't lift my arms in some days. Now, I'm not going to say that every day was the same, but I'm telling you.
It's brutal.
Exactly. And when you've been given no answer, okay, now I know you've known me for a little while, coming on the show and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever come across as being a depressed person, have I?
No.
Okay, but I'm telling you, when I went through that period of no answers, I got depressed. That's another sign, another symptom of fibromyalgia.
So you've treated many fibromyalgia patients yourself.
Exactly.
What kinds of results have you seen, Diane?
Phenomenal results. Because again, here's two things. I can only give the information. See, when I found out the information, I went gung-ho. Because I was like, I am not staying the way I was.
Yes.
And so I embraced it, and I went gung-ho. Because you know what? I am the only one that can make those changes for me. So I have lots of phenomenal stories of people that have recovered and living an entirely different, healthy life than what they were living before. But all I can do is give information. It's up to each individual person to be able to apply it and follow the program. Now, if you're depressed and see no hope, it's hard for you to apply the principles, correct?
Yes.
And also, because complementary health is not covered by OHIP, a lot of people are not financially able to embrace complementary health, which I think is a shame. It is a shame beyond a shame. And you know, I have a dream to build a natural wellness center, and that's where my dream came from, is that, and I'm already incorporated and have my nonprofit organization status, and people can see it on my website. But it's so that people can come, whether they can afford it or not, and that just like other hospitals out there where people give corporate donations, the center will be run the same way. Is that people can come no matter what their financial position is.
Now you're in a real catch-22 because you do lecture in traditional medicine circles as well.
I have taught at Mohawk McMaster in the Health Sciences Department.
But yet there are certain rules regarding the natural health industry that prevents people in the traditional from pursuing in some respects. If you could just explain that quickly.
Okay, well there's a couple of things. First of all, we have a federal government right now, conservative federal government, that actually has in their policy that complementary health should be embraced. Okay, how do I know? I actually worked with the conservative government in their policy wording, and because they had in their treatment, disease, and stuff like that, it didn't allow a complementary health practitioner to work in that field. So I helped them to look at their wording to change the policy. So right now today, in our federal government, we have policy to embrace complementary health. The challenge is the federal government gives the money to the provincial government to implement our healthcare systems. Our provincial healthcare systems do not embrace complementary health. So, you know, we've come so far, but then we take 5 steps backwards, you know, in that aspect. Today, the Ontario College of Nurses actually have in their continuing education curriculum that iridology can be taken. The challenge is they have to be able to show that they could use iridology in their practice. Well, if the medical association won't allow doctors to use it, and if they're underneath a doctor in a hospital, how are they going to be able to use it? It's like a catch-22. It's like, again, we take 2 steps forward and 6 back, you know, in that. It is very frustrating.
It's certainly a work in progress, and we know you're waiting on the phone lines. I'll tell you what, we're going to go for a break. We'll get straight back to you on the phone lines after this. Don't go away.